From the Bay Haven Inn in downtown Newport, Oregon, it's the So This Is Haven show with Jamie Lewis. Now, here's Jamie!
Good evening, folks. Welcome to So This Is Haven. I'm Jamie Lewis, your host for this evening, and welcome to our premiere of what we hope to be a series. We have Kip and Cindy, the piano burning of New Year's Eve, an update on our crab video, and a few more surprises. So let's check up on that video.
be steering this fucker.
Yeah. It feels good when you see one of them things full of bugs.
Yeah.
Also went over to the Blackjack Crab Pot Factory. We have some really good footage to show you.
You see down here, these triggers are already on this one. These triggers are already on this one, and as the crab goes through the pot, they just push these open and get in the pot. Which is why you hear fishermen always talking about the crab pots going click, click, click all the time, because they're making money.
What size are they?
Well, this on the side, top and bottom is a little heavier wire that's in the tunnel. Basically, there's no wear on the tunnel. There's quite a bit of wear on the side, top and bottom, of course. And it's made of stainless steel. There are different grades of stainless steel. Some will rust, even though it's called stainless, it'll still rust in saltwater conditions. So you have different grades.
So the wire in your tunnels and the wires on your sides, they're not the same?
They're the same grade, but they're a different size. The wire in the tunnel is 041. It's in thousandths, measured in thousandths. So it's what we call 041. It's a lighter wire. The wire on the side, top, and bottom is 048, quite a bit heavier. And the higher the grade of the wire, the higher the number. So 304 is what we're using because it's marine grade.
That crab video is coming together quite nicely, which will hopefully make us a little bit of money. And now for our favorite part of the show, do you know this tip? Oh. Delicious, aren't they? Now for the weather report with Gerald.
Well, here we are on the South Jetty. This is the weather report, and I'm your bald-headed weatherman. No show's complete without a bald-headed weatherman. I'm this show's. As you can see, the weather is really shitty. You'll notice we're predicting this with absolutely no graphs or charts. We have no satellite pictures, nothing of anything, nothing up my sleeves. The weather is really shitty, starting to blow about 35 knots out of the south. As you can see behind me, Hey! Well, back to you, James.
The only honest weatherman on TV today. Well, we don't have video poker anymore, but for those of you who missed it the first time, here's the great poker assassination.
It was Henry David Thoreau who inspired people like Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi with his book, Civil Disobedience. In his book, he advises people that they must, in fact, break unjust laws. And we really believe this is an unjust law.
Well, time has run out for this machine. We're in somewhere, Oregon, behind a tavern, where this machine is no longer legal. We'd like to interview today the owner of this tavern, Mr. Anonymous Tavern Owner. Would you come in and tell us about this machine and how long you've had it in your establishment?
Sure. How do you do? Mr. Tavern Owner. This machine's been here longer than me. Years. Probably 20 years, maybe even.
So have I.
Longer than that guy over there.
Well, why is it moving? Why is it out here now?
Well, the state has instructed us to destroy the machine by tomorrow, December 1st.
December 1st. This is November 31st now, right?
Right. So we got a day.
Yeah.
Still legal right now. And we're not doing anything dishonest. We never have. In fact, we never done anything dishonest with this machine.
No. Well, what does this machine do?
You read it. For amusement only. It amuses. Everybody comes in here, puts a quarter in it, it amuses. Here's a little print there.
Yeah, I know. What does it say? Well, what kind of patrons usually play this machine?
Well, all types of people play the machine.
Now bring the things they're playing there.
Working people, non-working people.
Not working.
Does the machine still work?
Yeah. Future president.
Welfare people.
That's my money here, man. You guys get away from my machine, okay? Come here to get amused. Want to get amused, John? That's not really John, but it's okay.
More people.
There you go.
Pack up.
Oh, I get in there too.
You got money, man.
Hey, buddy, I got money right here.
Push the button.
Camera shot.
Oh, you know, okay?
Get some more. Get some
Feed
more.
on it again.
That's that.
All right. See, this is a
Hold the
music.
queen.
Hold the queen.
All right.
This turn.
That machine. Got 200 gigs.
I'm sorry, this is for amusement only.
We want to get paid off.
Yeah, we want to get paid off.
I got 200 gigs, man. I paid off.
Yeah. Gotta find the right key.
Oh my goodness. How many machines you got?
This establishment. No, these are for the how many machines you got in the basement, man? These are my cars. We know you got them in the basement too. It looks like
It's your weapon of choice.
looks like gambling demons.
Oh man.
We got to beat it up after that.
Probably recognize that.
Hey, my brother.
There's a payoff.
All right.
What's the payoff?
This is what a payoff is. You get a rubber.
That's one of the
Rubber ducky, yeah?
Yeah.
God, would you like to go to bed? Hey, that's my mother-in-law.
Last but not least,
More demons.
More demons.
but no money, no money. We
My snake's bigger than you are.
they're happy, satisfied.
It bites. It bites.
Oh my
Well,
God.
I don't have used one bit.
Not either.
Yeah, you won't pay off. I'm chilling it. I'm chilling this machine. I put lots of money in it.
Oh, shh.
Hey. Hey.
You don't want to pay off, huh? You want to pay off? Oh, great. Give me that.
Well, there ain't gonna be no more gambling in Oregon. Well, let's see if the state can build one better than that.
It's not completely. Completely. Hey, you!
Yeah, there it is! Ah, that's it! Animal! Animal! Yeah!
Somebody else get in there and kill this machine. Put it in.
Oh, shit.
God, wild man. Are you amused yet? Are you amused?
Seriously? Call me a doctor.
Cardiac arrest over there. You're a doctor.
Yeah.
Always going to unplug it.
Most disgraceful exhibition of mayhem and violence I've ever seen.
You didn't want to pay off. We destroyed the machine.
I guess, well, I'll find something else to do with the time.
Such violence. Now for something a little more mellow. This is what we call Sea Stories with Danny Shute.
Danny Breeden, he said he was going to have to go up to Pelican, Alaska and repossess a boat. Bring it back down. That's why I'd like to come and navigate, help get her down. Told him, sure, I'd like to go. I've never been to Alaska, and I've been trying to get there for better 25 years. So we just took out of here at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, heading for the Portland airport. Stopped up at the market and got 2 cans of tobacco, supplies to take us up there with and get us part way through it. And that started the portent of how long this journey was going to take. We got to Portland airport, jumped out of the car and ran in. We were all excited, forgot the 2 cans of Bugler tobacco, jumped on an airplane and headed for Seattle. We get to Seattle and everything's going real good, but the plane heading for Juneau, our next stop, was a solid hour late. This begins the slowest part of the tale. We get on the plane and we just barely make it to Juneau in time to jump on the little seaplane that's going over to Pelicans. The only way to get there is by boat or by seaplane. And there just ain't enough room for all 3 of us. It was me, Paul Poindexter, and Danny Breeden, heading off on the saga of the Valhalla 2. So we have to leave Paul in Juneau. We give him $100 because it costs a whole bunch of money to spend a night in the frozen north. Me and Danny jump on the seaplane and we get there sometime after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We go over to the boat and it's there and we walk in and man, the boat had been sunk. Everything is wet. The bunks are all damp. There's piles of clothes everywhere, just wetter than can be. The rug is completely trashed. By golly, the sink. There was a science project growing in the sink. I had to pull my knife out just to get close to it. Finally got things cleaned up a little bit. Here come the guy that had leased the boat on the next flight in. He's talking a whole bunch of stuff about how he wants his boat fixed up and blah, this and that, and we've got a contract with the owner to repossess it. So Danny tells me, keep it quiet. I'll do the talking. I'm the skipper. I tell him, yes, sir, skipper. I don't like this guy in the first place, but here he is, and he's there with a broken leg. His boat had been sunk. It's completely trashed out. So we start working on it. Paul shows up the next day. We figured it was going to take us about 3 weeks to get the boat squared away and back down here. Well, we started messing with things, and all the electrical wiring had been underwater. It was shot. We had to replace this. We had to replace that. We didn't have a LAN, which is a long-range navigation aid. We didn't have a radar, which is something that you got to have when it gets foggy or it gets dark and you got to be able to see. We didn't have a depth finder to tell us how deep the water was. We struggled with this boat, and 3 weeks after we started, we finally got the boat to where we figured we could put the crab pots that were up there on the boat and start heading south. Well, our first stop had to be Sitka. So we head on down the hill on the outside and we pull out in front of Sitka. It's dark. Nobody on the boat had been into Sitka by water. So we spent the night jogging around out in front, waiting for the sun to come up. Sun came up and it was a piece cake. We get into Sitka and by golly, we pulled up there at Alaska Days. of all the days to pull into Sitka, well, it was the day before Alaska Days. We got our radar fixed, we got the depth finder fixed, and by then it's dark. We got to pay the guy for the radar and the depth finder the next day. We managed to get some money sent up. So here we are, Alaska Days. We finally got the check cashed. We paid the guy off, and there's no sense going anywhere now. It's one long party. So we partied for that day and had a pretty good time. Took off from there, got on down the hill a ways. We went into a little storm coming out of Chatham Strait, blowing about 85, and finally started kicking up on us and coming behind us, so it wasn't too bad. But we couldn't make it across the strait into Cape Decision. There just wasn't no way we were going to make it across. So we went around the other side of the island and hid out in the lee for a while. Actually, we hid out in the lee all night. Next morning, we're still jogging back and forth, and it's increased to about 100 knots. But we're on the lee side of the island, so it's not too bad. We see this guy making way for this little bay called Larch Cove. So we get a hold of him on the radio, and he says, yeah, it's a piece of cake, follow me on in. It's 20 fathoms all the way up to the back end of the cove. That will get it way up the back, though, because of the wind coming over the hill. So we pull in there, and we drop the anchor, and by golly, it fouled first shot. We go down and try to get the PTO working, to pull it back up, get the winch working, and it's frozen solid from having sunk. So we got no way to pull this anchor but by hand, and there's a lot of anchor and a lot of chain. So we drug around all that day, dragging back and forth, starting the boat every time we get over on the rocks, and drag it back to the other side of the bay, and drift over, drag it back to the other side of the bay. Finally, about midnight, the wind laid down. We got some sleep. Next day, we got up and started yarding this anchor by hand. Let me tell you, yarding 670 pounds of anchor and chain, 3 guys yarding on it, ain't no way to do it by hand. We got it up to the chain, and we're scratching our head trying to figure out what are we going to do. I mean, you know, this ain't working. Well, this guy that let us in, he went out and he came back in a little later, and he'd set his long line gear out. And he went and anchored back up, and we got a hold of him on the phone. And he says, yeah, well, I ain't got to come along, but I do got a double block and pulley I'll shoot over to you. Went okay, so we nudged on up and got that on the boat. And we finally yarded and got the anchor up. And sure enough, the whole bottom end of the anchor was just completely wrapped around, or the chain was completely wrapped around the anchor, just one solid mass of chain and anchor. We got it on, okay, let's get on down the hill.
We'll have the rest of that story next week. Now for sports with Cindy. Cindy?
Thank you, Jamie. Not a whole hell of a lot happening in sports this week. We're still waiting on shoes and golf, but there were a few bull games.
Cindy? Now for Green's New Year's Eve. Oh, what a party.
Excuse me, everybody. Starboard! Starboard! Starboard port! Are you
So this is Haven.
Happy New Year.
I'm sitting tied up,
Get up on me, mama, but you know what I need. I'm a lemon, lemon, mother, gonna get it, mother, all and I'm a rockin'.
got a red light flashing on it.
Oh, look at the way. I see the street line of bleeding line of military bird. Got the general got him, but the general got a word and I'm a rocket. Rocking my life away. Been a moving and a grooving and a getting both night and day. I wanna rock it. Lord, I need to rock it. Got a hole in my pocket. Lord, Lord, I love to rock it. Now get up on me, mama, but you know what I need. I'm a lemmy, mother, honey, get it, bubble, all and I'm rocking my life away. Grooving and a grooving, get it for the night and day. I love to rock it, rock it, happy New Year now. They love to rock it, oh, I need to rock it.
Best New Year's Eve party in years. Thanks to those that made it happen. What do you think, Judge?
Well, I'm the judge. I say give 90 days. Case closed.
Thank you, Judge. Well, that's all we have for this week. Come back next Sunday night, 7 p.m. for more sports, weather, and the judge. And more Bay Haven Follies here on So This Is Haven. I'm Jamie Lewis saying good night and stay out of trouble.